Hello, welcome to Boxpred, and thank you for tuning in. There are a few fights that happened this weekend, and I just want to give you guys my brief post-fight thoughts. I am going to try and keep it brief. On Friday, Kareem Mayfield defeated Ray Serrano by stoppage. Both of these guys were undefeated going into the fight, so it did create quite a lot of hype. Both of these guys were hot prospects, but Kareem Mayfield proved to be just too explosive for Ray Serrano, too quick. He's able to overcome guys with barrage of punches with his speed and the ferocity with which he throws combinations. I like Mayfield. I think he's a good prospect to look out for. His career's been brewing for a while now. You know, he was a sparring partner for Manny Pacquiao in the past, and he's slowly but surely making more and more waves over in the US. And I think he's definitely one to watch out for in the future. Daniel Solis was back in action and he defeated Konstantin Erich by decision. You know, after he lost, well, we say lost, but he had a knee injury when he fought Vitaly Klitschko, and the fight couldn't go on because of that injury. I think he's going to end up trying to fight his way back into title contention sooner rather than later. The reason I think that could happen, he could get a rematch with the Klitschko, is because the Klitschkos do have a tendency to give guys another chance. You know, we've seen that now. Tony Thompson is fighting against Vladimir Klitschko, whereas he's fought him in the past. And you know, it proves it is possible for guys to get back in the mix with the Klitschkos. And definitely, I don't think Klitschko will be content with the way that fight ended. He wants to get, he wants to win fights where there's no question mark left over the fight. So I think Odlanier Solis may be trying to get himself, maybe getting a title shot soon. I wouldn't put money against it, to be honest with you. Then we saw on Saturday Mikkel Kessler going up against Alan Green in Denmark. You know, a lot of guys were rubbish in this fight. They said it was just a walkover fight, completely one-sided, but it proved not to be. The first round, Alan Green had Kessler down. Kessler looked vulnerable. He was hurt. He was in trouble. He looked very hittable. His defense wasn't the best. And although Kessler ended up, as the fight went on the next couple of rounds, Kessler picked it up a bit and he started taking control of the fight. And that's more the type of fight we thought we were going to see. Apart from the fantastic, outstanding knockout that he gave, I wasn't that impressed with Mikkel Kessler. I thought he looked very beatable. And if it wasn't Alan Green in there, Kessler, if it was Ward or someone, maybe even Carl Froch or Lucien Boutte, I think Kessler would have been in a lot of trouble in that fight. So, we know Green can hit hard, but Kessler just looked open. I thought Alan Green used the jab, like I said in my prediction. I thought that Green had the superior jab. I think that played out. I thought Green's jab was actually very good on the night. But again, Green's defense let him down. His composure let him down. He wasn't able to take advantage of hurting Kessler, and he ended up getting hurt himself. And then he was really, what an outstanding knockout that was. That was a vicious knockout. Moving on, Ashley Theophane, he lost to Darren Hamilton here in the UK, and for me, it was a bit of a surprise that he lost this fight. However, in his last fight against Ben Murphy, I thought that Theophane didn't look very good. He didn't look as good, for example, as he did when he faced back when he faced Danny Garcia, who's a world champion now. I thought Theophane, earlier in his career when he faced Danny Garcia, he looked much sharper. Against Ben Murphy in his last fight, he just looked, a bit sluggish, a bit slower. He doesn't look so sharp. So it doesn't really come as a total surprise to me that Hamilton was able to pull off the majority decision. However, I've heard some word that Theophane may, regardless of this result, still be looking to move to a higher level, still be chasing that world title. And it's, boxing's a funny thing. It has been known to happen. Guys lose fights, and even if they've lost fights, they end up getting world title shots. Their name gets them somewhere. And I wouldn't put it past Theophane, moving ahead now from British level to try and go to maybe European Commonwealth and even trying to knock on the world title doors. I'm not saying he's capable of winning a world title. I'm just saying I believe that from what I've seen with his mentality, I think that Ashley Theophane will be attempting to forget this domestic scene, now, and moving ahead onto bigger things, so to speak, on more of a world stage. But congratulations to Darren Hamilton. A very good victory for him, and I wish him all the best in his defence of his title in the future. Moving on to the final fight I'm going to talk about, David Price. Obviously, he stopped Sam Sexton. I said before the fight that Sam Sexton was a good quality operator, and I felt that if David Price was able to finish this fight early, I for one would be appreciative of the achievement. And I am appreciative of the achievement. I must say that I think this was a very good performance. Too often we see a guy put on a really good performance against a really good opponent, and then we start trying to downplay the victory. We say, before the fight we may be saying this guy's good, he's going to have a chance, and then after the fight we say, oh well, this guy wasn't that good after all. But Sam Sexton, let's not forget, he's only lost twice to Derek, and that was both times to Derek Chisora. He'd only been down once in his career. He was stopped on his feet, I believe, and I just feel he's a really good, one of the top domestic fighters we have in the UK. Whether that's nothing compared to the world level operators is another thing. But on a domestic level, which David Price obviously was operating at to win that British title, he's faced one of the best guys we have, and he's made it look like easy work, quite frankly. I thought David Price's jab, which we were able to see, and I thank Sam Sexton for that, he was able to survive enough for us to see David Price's jab, which is something we haven't really been able to see in his previous fights, with this fight stopping early. I just feel that Price's jab was fantastic, and the main point I want to pick up from this fight is the fact that what impressed me was the way that David Price was able to move forward and be on the front foot and completely hold the centre of the ring and dominate the timing and distance with that jab. I thought his defence looked okay when Sexton did get a couple of shots through. Price was keeping a good high guard with his gloves. I thought it was an outstanding performance and a really good finish. We know he's a finisher. We know he has got an outstanding, powerful punch. Let's not sugarcoat it. The guy we're going to compare him to is Tyson Fury. Okay, this is the big thing in the UK now. We've got Tyson Fury and we got David Price, who are two of our top up and coming heavyweights. We've got Derek Chisora and David Haye and other guys, but these two are up and coming and they're the future. And everyone wants to see them face each other, but I can't play around around what I feel about this. To me, there's no contest. That's just my honest opinion. I think David Price is by far the superior boxer. I think he wins all day against Fury. Look at Fury's fights. He's pushed back constantly. He's constantly backed up against the ropes. He doesn't have as good a jab as David Price off the evidence of the fight against Sexton. He's not able to, control the ring constantly from the center of the ring. Smaller guys can push him back, and he gets caught with shots way too easily. I like what Fury's done by getting boxing on terrestrial telly on Channel 5. But I cannot sugarcoat this. I don't think there's any competition when we're talking about Tyson Fury and David Price. I know a lot of guys out there, Tyson Fury supporters in particular, will be, maybe annoyed at my comments. That's what I feel. There's no point in me, lying to you and saying I think it's close. I will go on record now as saying I don't think it's close. I think Fury wins that fight rather easily. As to where Price goes from here, he's just won the British title. You probably want to look to defend it. He's going to take his time, and that's up to him and his management. Finally, I want to just briefly mention that I actually did quite enjoy the 24/7 Road to Redemption Pacquiao vs Bradley episode 1. I like what they've done with it. I was really bored by the Mayweather Cotto one. I felt that was very samey. We've seen it all before, and it was extremely boring. I actually liked this first episode of the Pacquiao Bradley episode. I thought we haven't really seen much of Bradley in the past. We don't really know his story, or I don't at least. And it's very interesting to see Bradley's story. Things came out that clarify to me now, make it clear why he's got so much heart in the ring, why he's able to get knocked down and get back up, his determination, his attitude. And, as I'm trying to now think about predicting this fight, making a video for it in shortly. I am struggling with the fight. I have been for a couple of since it was announced, but this is sort of giving me more insight and information into the current status of the both fighters, where they're both at, and coupled with what I believe they can do in the ring. Hopefully, I can come out with a decent video for you guys on that fight shortly. So thanks for listening. I know it's gone longer than I thought it would, but I hope I've given you my thoughts on the fights that happened at the weekend and a bit more. Please let me know what you guys think of any of the fights, of those guys I mentioned. Thanks for watching as always, and yeah, shout out to UK Wing Chun student who's just reached 1,000 videos. It's you don't understand how hard he has had to work to get to 1,000 videos. I mean, what am I on now? I don't know, 100 odd videos, and even I look back and wonder how on earth I got here, making all how I've done all these videos. And honestly, he's one of the hardest, if not the hardest working channel I know, UK Wing Chun student. He does domestic videos in depth, and he really covers everything, and it's such a good, entertaining, funny channel. One of my favourite channels on here. So shout out to UK Wing Chun students. I really appreciate his hard work that he does. For you can come on here and see he's dropped another video all the time on a regular basis. You can go and watch it, and he gives you some insight into guys you may not have heard of, particularly on the domestic scene. And it's really good. He's a really good valued member of the community on here on YouTube. I'm sure you guys feel the same. So thanks for watching. This is Boxpred, and I'm out.